Do we have want to speak, or how does the process work?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do.
Approve the minutes first.
Yeah, could we have as far as the minutes are concerned, let me just make this comment. These are the most extensive, detailed minutes I've ever seen in my life. I think it records, you know, the jokes are not really very funny when they're printed. And each phrase we utter, we think is a pearl of wisdom, but they don't look all that astute when they're printed. Minutes are to summarize, in my view, the actions we've taken. And if there's a transcript that is kept of the meeting, that's another thing. But, I've got to compliment the staff on, the extent of the minutes, but my reaction, we're going to approve these minutes, but in the future, I would think that you could save yourself a lot of time and serve our purposes just as well with the minutes just summarizing the significant actions that we take. But with that comment, do I have a motion for
Move approval.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Now, I think most people are probably here for item 2. I'm just wondering if we can't take items 1 and 3 up and then get into public comments. Is there any problem with that?
No. Good idea.
You want to make a presentation on item 1?
Very briefly, this action is administrative in nature. It's for the most part a name change in the contract. The amendment in front of you is to change the name from Essentia, who has been providing program management services, among other things, to the JPA, to a new name, E2 Managed Tech, which is the result of 2 firms merging. We will continue to have the same group of professionals servicing the account, and we will have the same hourly fee and the not-to-exceed contract amount. So there is no financial impact or otherwise. Therefore, it is requested that the governing board authorize the executive director to execute the amendment attached to the board memo.
Any comment on this?
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. That takes us to item 3 for the moment.
Item 3 is, given the workload and loss of key personnel in my division at the Port of Long Beach, I find myself compelled to resign as Executive Director of the JPA. I recommend the governing board to appoint Mr. Doug Thiessen, Engineering Managing Director at the Port of Long Beach, to replace me.
What if we don't accept your resignation?
Then I'm stuck.
That seems like a pretty good option to me.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. You don't like the job?
Thank you. I do. I have enjoyed it, and I have. It has been my pleasure serving the board. It's just the demands at my day job that is compelling me to make this request.
So Doug has lots of free time?
I would just say that given the changes in responsibility as we move forward, I think that Mr. Thiessen is well positioned to be the executive director, and Sam has done a great job. But his other job as CFO at the Port of Long Beach is increasing given some of the challenging times that we have. So I would make the motion that we accept the recommendation of staff.
Yeah, I'll second that. I also want to thank Sam for being our man in the hot seat over there for a number of years. So thank you. And I also agree that Doug would be good. We're really moving into a different part of the program. We're moving into the IR and engineering parts of it. So I think Doug is well positioned to do that. So I'm glad to second the
Guess we'll
motion.
just have to defer to the greater insight of our colleagues in Long Beach.
That's right.
He used to work for me, so I know him too. So I would also.
So what is your recommendation?
I would say yes, he's a good pick.
Very good. So we have a motion here
Yeah.
and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, that does take us to what's apparently the main business of this meeting. Is there a presentation that the staff wishes to make here so
Yes.
that the comments
Mr.
could,
Ed Rogan, principal in Essentia, would be making staff presentation.
Good evening. I'm Ed Rogan with Essentia, now E2 Managed Tech.
Your choice, if you want to do the rest of the meeting or...
Good evening. There you go. As mentioned, I'm Ed Rogan, now with E2 Managed Tech. We have a very brief presentation, a couple of slides summarizing the scoping meeting we just had a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago actually tonight. A little bit of general progress and a schedule overview, and then we'll just open it up for questions. So as I mentioned, we had a scoping meeting on February 11th, 3 weeks ago tonight, generally in the middle of a review period during which the notice of preparation or notice of project and the initial study was circulated for review, public and agency review during the period of January 9th to February 25th. The comment period just closed last Wednesday, and those comments have been summarized and provided to the AQMD, who is preparing the EIR, as most people in the room know. The goal and purpose was to procure comments from the agencies and the public to aid in focusing and directing the overall emphasis of the EIR. It was held at the Stevens Middle School. We had a total of 37 speakers. It turned out that 28 of them expressed concerns about the project and 9 of them expressed support for the project. The comments, the summary, actually the transcript of the comments will be posted on the website for those 37 speakers so you can see what specifically they said. What I did summarize here is a couple of quick slides with some excerpts, took some literary license and highlighted some things like asthma problems will be compounded, jobs will be created, value of homes will go down, etc. You can read these for yourself, and the entire comment will be provided in the summary that's, or in the listing that's provided on the website. Continuing on with some excerpts to try to give people a flavor of what was discussed that evening. Near dock is not the answer. Need more on dock capacity and utilization. Commendable use of green technologies, very significant negative traffic issues, investment in infrastructure benefits the economy, and we need more done right now. So that, again, I just wanted to provide a flavor for those of you who could not make it to the meeting 3 weeks ago to see what kinds of things we were listening to. I thought the evening went very well and very well presented by the different speakers. And an issue that's always on the agenda at these meetings is the overall schedule. For those of you who might recall, the general schedule published probably 6 or 9 months ago when we first started the project was to complete the bottom line item there, the ICTF JPA consideration of the final EIR in November of 2009. We are approximately 1 month behind schedule right now, which isn't as bad as it seems because we utilized about 8 to 10 weeks late last year trying to make sure that this project was being evaluated consistently with the SCIG project. So the alternatives and the transportation assumptions, the cumulative analysis, it was just totally logical that we would sit down for a little while and make sure that everybody was on the same page since these two facilities are relatively close to each other. So there was, like I said, about an 8 to 10 week period where the AQMD, as the consultant for the JPA, and the Port of LA on the SCIG side, sat down and technical people from both within the ports and on the consulting teams generated a series of consistent assumptions that we can both use. So the good news is we had about 8 to 10 weeks that we did that, but we're trying to manipulate different things to make sure we only lose about a month in total. The AQMD is being very cooperative and trying to expedite things as they can. They've begun turning in draft chapters for us to review and pass along to the JPA staff, the technical staff at either port. So they're working very well with us to try to keep this thing moving towards that November, December timeframe.
Well, let me just stop you a second. What is now the target date for getting a draft EIR out for the public to comment on?
July of this year.
And that's a firm date?
Yes, sir. We're in a process that we should, by mid-April, have a draft EIR, an administrative draft for the port staffs to look at, to get the document together and send it out. And we're looking at July and August for the public review period, publishing the document approximately June 30th for the public to review and the agencies.
Because that's really the date that's most crucially under your control.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying that we will almost certainly have a draft out in July of this year.
That's the current plan. People like Ms.
That's
Stats and Mr. Steinke that
Very
know me.
good and very important. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. The April review draft within the port and the JPA staff, the July and August public review period. We're trying to schedule, we're tentatively right now scheduling a public review meeting in August, again, giving people about 30 days to look at the document and be prepared to come and offer comments. Publish the final EIR in November of '09 and have the ICTF board consider the document.
Well, with all due respect, you can control the date that you finish the draft. These dates after that are going to depend upon comments and upon this body. So we won't hold you responsible for but we will hold you responsible for getting that draft out in July.
Now, Ed, are we going to have some sort of preview before July on what we're talking about in terms of mitigations? You know, what's going to be in the document?
The board?
Yeah.
Or
I guess
the public,
Right, a preview of what you're coming out with? Or,
That was not the plan. The plan was to just submit the document
okay.
through the two ports and the
Okay.
JPA staff for review and then issue it for public comment. I'm open to suggestions if you're willing to have a sit-down session where we can present to you individually what the document looks like and the alternatives that are being considered.
I think we can
But I don't, yeah,
work those things out within the limits of the law.
exactly. That was my concern. I was winking towards Mr. Russell because I'm not sure that a private viewing of the document is in
No,
order.
I wasn't asking for
Yeah.
private
Yeah.
viewing. I thought we had talked earlier when we first set up the process that there was going to be some discussion of mitigations for the project, so.
I don't recall that. Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong. I
I'm
have
sorry.
something stuck in my mind about that.
I think last slide. Just to remind everyone, we do have a website dedicated to the project. We regularly post calendars, meeting and notices. You can sign up very easily. Just put your email in address if you have one, and you'll get automatic notices of meetings like this or other publishing of documents on the website. And at the bottom of the slide or the bottom of the handout that everyone should have been able to get out front is the phone number for Mr. Greg Alexander sitting over here in the corner, and the actual, if you want to submit a question to the website, either myself or Greg will be the ones that are answering the questions. With that, that's the general update on where we are.
Thank you. Does
You're
anyone
welcome.
have any questions?
Okay.
I think we're now open for public comment. I assume there's some order here.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we received a number of speaker request cards from the audience. There's probably 20, 25 of them, and I'm going to go through them in the order we received them, call the names. We would request the speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes in consideration of the rest of the audience who may have items they want to speak about. The first card I received, it's a little difficult to read the handwriting, but the street address is 1531 West Summit Street, Long Beach, California. It may be Carmen. Okay, please come forward to the microphone, please. And following that speaker will be Mary Rubinaker of Sacramento, California. And the third would be Maria Trujillo of Long Beach, California.
We ought to be sensitive to protecting the privacy of people, and I'd prefer you not read out anyone else's address.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Carmen Rivera. I live in Long Beach. I live in first in Los Angeles. I come in here for buy my house, beautiful house. For last 12 years, I'm very sick for the asthma. I come in here. Now, don't is possible working. So I take it 4 different medicines for my asthma. My kids, my grandkids, my 3 grandkids now is very sick for the asthma. Now, not possible outside for cleaner my yard for my asthma. Outside is very, very terrible for you not living in here. And me living in here, it's possible walk in the night. For this very smoking, it is possible the air is fresh. Now this is terrible. It's terrible. He said, and I'm living and sleeping. He said, what happened? He said, I is very leaving tomorrow. Why? Please, help the people. For my kids, is very, my neighbors living, they change the houses for not possible now, very sick. Everybody my neighbors live in the Long Beach for the sick, for the asthma. My friends, many passed away, 4 friends for the asthma. Please, help. Not necessarily more yards. The economy is very bad. No, it's time now for here, for more yards. No, it's necessary. Thank you very much. I take them with my friends. They go.
He'll leave those. Thank you. I'm going to make this comment. You know, you're smart. The mask makes a symbolic point, and it's fine. I just want to say to you that it's very hard to hear what you have to say if you leave the mask on while you're speaking. I just make that comment to try to be helpful. You can proceed any way you like.
Thank you. I'll take a note of it. First of all, before I begin, I wanted to know if there's any translator or if it's possible, because I think by law, if anybody here that doesn't speak English, if there's a possible way to get that for them to understand what I have to make a point across, if that's okay.
I don't believe we have a translator present, perhaps.
We have one if anybody is here willing to translate for us here on the behalf of our community in Long Beach.
If it pleases the board to accept that translation, that'd be
That's fine with us.
Just so they would know also what I'm trying to make a point across as well. I think it would be fair. I can do it. Okay, hi, my name is Mary Rubenaker. I have 2 boys. My oldest goes to Cabrillo High School, and my youngest son goes to Hudson.
Mi nombre es Mary Rubenator y yo tengo 2 niños. Mi niño mayor va a Cabrillo, la high school de Cabrillo, y mi niño menor va a la escuela de Hudson.
I'm here to voice my concerns on behalf of the community of Long Beach, as well as everybody present, with the concerns with ICTF expansion. I ask, is all the money for the expansion worth my son's health? My youngest son has chronic asthma, and this is one of the reasons why I bring my son's inhaler. He has 6 medications altogether in addition to this.
Hoy estoy aquí para compartir con ustedes mis preocupaciones sobre el ICTF y la expansión que va a pasar. Y yo les quiero preguntar hoy, todo el dinero que para la expansión,
¿Vale la pena?
¿vale la pena la salud de mis dos hijos? Yo hoy traigo un inhaler y los niños tienen 6 diferentes medicinas de que tomar.
We came from West Covina, us three, I'm a single parent. And once I got here in the year of 2005, my youngest got pneumonia due to the air quality that we're breathing here in Long Beach. I'm asking for both my sons to have a chance for clean air and to stop the railroad expansion. Again, my youngest son is only 9 years old, and he does not weigh more than 50 pounds.
Yo me moví aquí de West Covina y cuando llegamos en el año 2005, mi niño menor tuvo neumonía por la calidad del aire. Hoy estoy preguntándole a ustedes, o estoy preguntando para mis dos hijos que tengan una oportunidad al aire limpio. Entonces les estoy pidiendo que paren la expansión de la yarda ferrocarrilera. Otra vez, mi niño menor nomás tiene 9 años.
And also, again, I have here cards and on behalf of the other community that are voicing their opinions as well.
También tengo cartas representando a la comunidad.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
The next speaker is Maria Trujillo.
Ok. Hola, mi nombre es María Trujillo. Buenas noches. Estoy aquí para hablarles algo del asma de mi niña. Ella tiene 12 años. Desde que tenía 5 meses le pegó el asma. Y okay.
Good evening. My name is Maria Trujillo, and the reason that I'm here is because of my daughter, and my daughter has asthma.
Cuando tenía 5 meses le dio el asma.
She got asthma when she was 5 months.
Y hasta ahorita he estado batallando mucho con ella.
And up to now, I've been really struggling with her and her health.
Y yo me opongo a lo que quieren hacer
I'm opposed to the expansion project
por la salud de mi hija
because of the health
y
of my
demás
daughter.
personas que están sufriendo.
And not just because of my daughter, but everybody else that's suffering because of this.
Y aquí está ella. Gracias.
This is my daughter.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I go to Stevens Middle School. In PE, it's kind of hard for me to breathe because of the bad air. So many kids in my school have asthma, and they always have to carry the inhaler. But it's tough for us to do many activities because of the bad air. And I want us to have clean air so we could do more things and more activities. And I'm just asking that please give us more clean air, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary Hernandez. And Mr. Chairman, we do have a translator available, Cecilia Moreno, who it will be made available if other translators are needed for the audience. Following Mary Hernandez is George Hubert.
My name is Mary Hernandez. I live in the west side of Long Beach. I live where the Terminal Island Freeway, south of Willow, and there's Webster and Hayes. I live on Hayes. I have a problem with my arteries, heart disease, and sometimes it smells awful. But the thing is, if the truckers come, I can hear all the time in the Terminal Island Freeway idling. But when you put the facility there, they're going to be idling, and we can smell. It's terrible. when they're idling. It smells stinks so much. And the thing is, the problem is, and then also the trains. Sometime I hear them at night clinging to each other, banging each other. Can you imagine how it's going to be when you have the facility? It's terrible. I take about 10 medications now. I've been living there many, many, many years. I hope to live more longer than that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have an ample supply.
George
I think,
Hubert
of these different.
of Lakewood, California. Following Mr. Hubert is Evelyn Knight.
How you doing? I'm George Holbert. I'm here on behalf of myself and my colleague Danielle Gardia. We were both physical education teachers at Hudson Middle School. I have a statement from Ms. Gardia. She states that I, Danielle Gardia, former physical education teacher at Elizabeth Hudson K-8 School, requested a inter-district and basically Steinhauser transfer to another campus for health reasons. We were both there from 2001 to 2007, so 6 school years. Some of the health problems she had, and some of myself, but I'll read her stuff first. Some of the health reasons include, as I lost my voice and had multiple sore throats throughout the year. Along with the above problem, my eyes were often dry, making it hard to work outdoors. I also would get headaches, stomach aches throughout the school year due to the odor both indoors and out. I had to attend emergency room and urgent care room during the school year multiple times. During those visits, I received steroid treatments along with breathing treatments. I was diagnosed with asthma and needed to be given a prescription. Currently, away from that area, refineries, freeways, trains, and problems is not as much as needing medication. I was constantly in the nurse's office, which is for my eyes, which were extremely irritated. I had trouble breathing and having to deal with that. My clothes would smell. So I was there, transferred. I had to go up basically to the top to try to get myself out of that situation. So it's a tough situation for myself. Thank you.
If you would be quiet, sir, you'll get, excuse me, sir, you'll get your turn.
I just had a question for him.
But that's out of order. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Evelyn Knight, and I'm a 41-year resident of the west side of Long Beach. And I, too, share all of the health concerns of myself and my family who suffer from asthma for years, and my niece is always coming down and asking me to help get her something to breathe. But I want to talk about, in addition to that, my concerns about that. I'm concerned about the fact that I was at 3 meetings ago when Chairman Friedman, requested that Union Pacific really engage the community in really getting real input and the concerns for prevention and ameliorations of the conditions that is going to be affected by the expansion of this project. Yes, for real community engagement to discuss the project. And the only thing we've had is a scoping meeting. The only community contact has been from a contracted public relations firm. And, when you pay somebody to do a certain kind of job, they just do that certain kind of job. It's not really engagement. So we're concerned about the real process by which we feel we have not had an opportunity to talk to decision makers at the Union Pacific who can really make a difference for us in our community. The community is still waiting for a meeting with the decision makers from the Union Pacific. The scoping meeting is the only community process so far. There has not been real community engagement. So maybe we need to just kind of define what we really mean by engaging the community, because nobody has talked to me or shared with me about, and I think that we really need to have, before this this comes for a final decision, we really do need some real input. So I would appreciate us having some real, not just something that somebody says and, roll over while we die. And thank you.
Well, thank you.
Alan Turwey is the next speaker, followed by Jeff Schidler. Alan Turwey.
Hi, my name is Alan Turway. I'm the Executive Director of Westside Neighborhood Clinic, and I'm just here to share what information that I have. My facility serves approximately 2,500 individuals, 10,000 visits per year. 300 of those visits, or 3% of those visits, are for asthma treatments. These particular visits are multiple medications.
3%?
3%, yes, 3%. Doesn't seem very high, but if you consider that our target population is 150,000, that tells you
Well,
you've got
actually, it seems
45,
low to me. It's
more
really
than, that's more than 4,500 asthma patients in the target area. That's a lot. This room couldn't hold them, that's for sure. Other than the numbers, there's an added expense to their visit. They're on multiple medications. Specifically, there is one medication that is fairly common to all. 70% of our patients use a medication called QVAR. It is a steroidal breathing treatment, and it costs my facility, because our patients can't afford to pay for it, it costs our facility $75 per atomizer. Small, that little breathing thing that you've seen that asthma victims use. It's $75 just for 1 month, and that's our price. The added medications, the breathing treatments that are required in the clinic raises the cost of each visit immeasurably. Everyone knows about asthma and what it can do. Asthma can cause death. I have lost a dear friend because of asthma. And I'm not here to choose sides. I just want to be sure that you understand that not only are there people who are ill due to the high percentage of pollutants in the air, there is also, the family members are affected by it. There's a cost that goes with it. A lot of people do not have disposable income to cover the cost of their medications and may be under-medicated because of that, exacerbating the situation. Thank you.
Following Jeff Schidler is Joan Greenwood and John Cross.
My name is Jeff Scheidler. I am a teacher at Elizabeth Hudson. I teach middle school out on the, right next to where the PE field is, or the concrete, whichever one you want to call it. I've been there for 7 years, and I've seen more and more students with more asthma than my previous school up at Hamilton, which is North Long Beach, which is far from the port over here and the Terminal Island Freeway. My concerns are great due to the community, the voice of my parents, students, and many couldn't be here tonight, but I'm here speaking on behalf of them. We have been given filters by Superintendent Steinhauser graciously, but unfortunately it's not the solution at this stage. The filters have a shelf life of 1,000 hours or something, and the majority of the filters that are being used in our classrooms are useless at this stage. You're just pumping bad air. The district has put forth a replacement of air filters that circulate a lot of dirty air into our classrooms. On a daily basis, there is a dust layer of particulate matter, of whatever it may be, but it is something that is atrocious on a daily basis. I wipe off my computer, I wipe off my desks, I wipe off the digital projector, and it is a disgusting fact that it's going into my lungs as well. I have been at a couple of schools in my career, and I can tell you I love the population that I teach with a passion. I refuse to leave due to the air quality. Myself, I am in fine shape, but I've watched colleagues leave my school. Approximately 50% of my staff has left due to the air quality, and I don't want to see any more of my fellow teachers that have retired. Just recently, one teacher passed away last year from cancer due to the air quality, a 25-year veteran of Hudson School. And I would appreciate if there would be less trucks, and because they line up right outside of our PE field, and the diesel emissions, as you're aware, are one of the greatest causes of asthma. And I've got students that miss 2 days to 3 days a week due to the asthma rates. I've called the AQMD multiple times, and I think it's time to come to the reality that the environmental impact of this expansion is going to cost many more lives than it's worth. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Joan Greenwood. I live in Long Beach in the Wrigley area. I'm the environmental chair of the Wrigley Area Neighborhood Alliance, WANA. Unfortunately, I didn't see a couple of technical articles that were recently published in the Journal of Chemical and Health and Safety until after the due date for submissions in response to the NOI scoping meeting. However, this information is very important, and I would like to submit them to you for appropriate review by your technical staffs. I've given one copy to the people seated at the desk, but I have copies for each of you. These articles address why nanomaterials, like diesel exhaust, are considerably more toxic than the comparable bulk materials upon which most environmental risk assessments are based. There is no question that the weight of scientific evidence submitted in response to the notice of intent indicates that diesel emissions are a serious health concern, and that even an 80% reduction is still significant. And these articles are really written from the perspective of occupational health and safety. The concern is the new nanomaterials. What triggered it were all the studies that were done on friable asbestos. And as a result of that, in this new evolving technology of nanomaterials in the chemical industry, production is being held up until they have thoroughly evaluated the implications to worker health and safety. So starting in 2004, there has been building an incredible body of knowledge that perhaps some of the people doing the health-related studies are not fully aware of. But I think, again, if we look back at the history of friable asbestos, what happens is these ultrafine particles get into your body, and then they move through your body and accumulate in different parts of the body. The larger particles do not do that. Their surface area, their reactivities are different. It is a very, very serious problem. And quite truthfully, with the way they have defined the baseline for the CEQA as no more than a change of plus or minus 10, this is a travesty. And I am appalled that people who are not chemists are taking this with such a lackadaisical position where they can come in and say what's more important are the jobs. I mean, this absolutely appalls me. And those comments at the NOI, as far as I'm concerned, they should not be part of the administrative record because they had nothing to do with the environmental impact report. These were strictly business community people who want more jobs. And they did not specifically address the content at the EIR because that is not an important content. So I'm going to hand these out to you and ask you that you make sure your staffs and even your consultant bring them up during the time that they're working on this draft EIR, even though they were submitted after the closing date. Thank you.
Following John Cross will be Suzanne Arnold.
Good evening. My name is John Cross. I'm the current Vice President of the West Long Beach Neighborhood Association, which encompasses everything west of the LA River. I've been opposed to this project since day one, and I'm still opposed to the project. The health risk that it poses on our community is great. And you see it every day with kids at school, coming out of school, parents picking them up. I had to pick up my grandson a couple of times from school because he had problems breathing and had some problems. I've been a resident in Long Beach since 1961. I've been in my current residence basically since 1964. My parents bought the house. I live within a quarter of a mile of the ICTF terminal. And like I said before, they have never been a good neighbor. A couple weeks ago, I was at a meeting, an ICTF rep was there, and basically he told us, and I can bring in witnesses, there's a couple in the room right now, that either you can let us spend $450 million to clean up our yard, or you can live with it for the next 20 years the way it is, basically. And he made that comment in front of a group of people. And that's the kind of neighbors we don't want in our neighborhood. I've been there before they moved in. The school was there before they moved in. And with the downgrowth in the cargo coming through the Port of LA and the Port of Long Beach, maybe we don't need an expansion right now. Maybe they just need to roll up their deal and keep what they got and clean up the mess they got instead of worrying about expanding. And I don't think, what scares me, ladies and gentlemen up there, is when it gets built. You guys can put all kind of conditional uses on this project. But what scares me is once it's in and operational and you're no longer around, who's going to enforce those rules and regulations? They won't be enforced because they're the big dog on the block. They're the railroad. They don't care. And nobody's going to shut them down and interfere with commerce. What we got to do is do this project right this time. And right is put more on-dock rails. If it's leaving the state of California, it comes off a ship, it goes on a dock, and it goes out of the state. The railroads do not want to go down in the harbor because they don't have control of the railroads in the harbor. You guys have control of them. And if you build the rail yards and you got total control, they don't have control. You can make sure it stays clean. You can make sure everything's done right because they're coming out of your yard. A near-dock yard is not your yard. You don't have total control of it. All you can do is put stipulations on it, and down the road, it's going to be whatever they want to do when you're all gone. And we're going to be living with it. I've been living with it since '86. There's one family in our neighborhood, there's 3 generations, actually 4 generations. The grandparents never had problems with asthma. The kids never had problems with asthma. The grandkids never had a problem with asthma. But all the 4 great-grandkids, they all have asthma. And they all were born after 1986. 4 generations, the first 3 generations do not have any asthma whatsoever. But the grandkids, the great-grandkids rather, have all 4 of them come out with asthma after they were born. And they go from the ages of 4 all the way up to the teenagers. So we don't need this project. Look at it, the downgrowth and deal, or find more alternative methods to move cargo. There's technology out there, look at it. Let's don't go with just drive a spike in the ground, put a rail yard on it, and run trains up and down it. It's not going to work, and it won't work. And we're going to be living with it. That's, like I said, our neighborhood. We're not a third world country, okay? The West Long Beach is one of the most diverse neighborhoods in the area. We are not a third world country, and we don't want rail yards next to us anymore. We don't want expanded ICTF. We don't want an escape project put there. So please, think about what you're doing, and think about the future, because you won't be here in the future. Thank you.
Following Suzanne Arnold is Laura Elaine Belahagia.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Arnold. I'm the school nurse at Hudson School and Bethune Transitional Center. Thank you. School for Homeless Children in Long Beach. Both facilities are adjacent to the Terminal Island Freeway. They're in an area that has the worst pollution in the entire city. Hudson has approximately 1,100 students. 185 of them have asthma at Hudson. That's about 17%. I have about 65 inhalers in my office for some of the most serious cases. Mrs. Rubenacre's son is among the 2 or 3 most serious. I see him up to 3 or 4 times every day. And he's a tiny boy, 4th grader. Asthma inhalers don't cure asthma. The inhalers merely help decrease the swelling and inflammation of the children's irritated airways. Actually, the inhalers serve to open or widen.
I want to hear what you're saying. If you'd go just a little slower.
I'm just afraid of that guy over there, the green light. Okay. Right.
I'll give you another minute. I just want to hear what you have to say, and you're going so fast I can't get it.
Did that stop right there?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll give you another
minute. Let me take off my jacket. Okay. Shall I start over?
Go right ahead.
All right. I'm the school nurse at Hudson School and Bethune Transitional Center, a school for homeless children in Long Beach. Both facilities are adjacent to the Terminal Island Freeway. They are in an area that has the worst pollution in the entire city. Hudson has approximately 1,100 students. 185 of them have asthma. That would be about 17%. I have about 65 inhalers in my office for some of the most serious asthmatics. Her son among the most serious. Asthma inhalers don't cure asthma. The inhalers merely help decrease the swelling and inflammation of the children's irritated airways. Actually, the inhalers serve to open or widen their airways, resulting in their being able to inhale even greater numbers of particulates in the air. At Hudson, we can truthfully and sadly say that we are what we breathe. For much of these ultrafine particulates that we continually breathe in will literally become part of our bodies, for they will cross right over from our lungs into our bloodstream, travel throughout our bodies, and ultimately lodge in our organs and blood vessels, never to leave us and forever be a part of us. In February 2007, Andrea Rico, Associate Professor in the Department of Preventive Medicine at USC's Keck School of Medicine, visited our campus with a group of people participating in the Smart Growth and Global Trade Tour. They had a particulate meter, or P-TRAC, which looked like a handheld vacuum cleaner with them during our visit, which was measuring the number of particulates per cubic centimeter in the air, roughly the volume of a sugar cube. While we were in a classroom with tour participants, the meter was registering 8,000 particulates per cubic centimeter. When we went outside towards the playground, the meter was registering 40,000 particulates and climbing. We did not go to the fence next to the freeway because the children were on the playground during their recess. Had we gone to the fence, the numbers would have undoubtedly been much higher. At Hudson, we have done everything that we could possibly do to keep the children safe by providing in-room portable air filters for all of our classrooms. The children are typically in their classrooms for 5 hours each day, and we are happy that during that time they're able to breathe clean, filtered air. It's the remaining 19 hours of each day that we worry about when children are at play, at home, sleeping, continually breathing the polluted air. Unfortunately, our filters are starting to clog up with debris and need replacement. However, we don't have the hundreds of dollars for each unit to purchase replacement filters. The district was kind enough to give us $48,000 for 60 of these in-room portables, but now there's no money for the replacements. This is a precious community filled with citizens of all ages who have every right to expect that the air that they breathe will not eventually kill them. These people are not dispensable and simply unfortunate health casualties or collateral damage resulting from rail yard growth and expansion. Each and every set of lungs in this community is precious. We need to do all that we can to ensure that everyone who lives, works, and goes to school here will be able to live long, happy, and healthy lives.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did that go on?
The next speaker is Laura Elaine Bellahadja. Following her is Chris Bientahado. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
The last name is Balahadia, if you're curious. Hi, my name is Laura Balahadia. I go to Cabrillo High School. I went to Hudson Elementary and went to Garfield prior to that. I know about what my former teachers and nurse were talking about because I've been living there on, I've been living on the west side of Long Beach ever since I was born, and I'm the only one of my parents' kids who hasn't had asthma. I was more or less practically born in the Philippines, and I was brought here very young. My brothers both had respiratory problems at a young age. They're both back there. And my brother, he's in ROTC at the moment, but he has a harder time building up muscle and gaining strength because he's small, or he was born small, and he's had asthma, and he had got a pneumonia a couple years back, and it took him months to recover from it, and he still currently has problems working out. At schools, it's really hard to breathe. I have pee in the morning right now, and sometimes when the refineries and the railroads are running, you can smell it no matter where you are on campus, including in the classrooms. And because there is not enough notification and involvement, a lot of the times we keep on breathing it, and by the time we were notified of it, we've been breathing it since the morning, and we only find out until maybe after lunch, which is about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Because of that late notification, all of us are breathing it in and are unable to concentrate. The air in our classes becomes stuffy even with air conditioning, and we lose concentration because of the lack of clean or relatively clean air that's coming in. And I'm very much against the railroad expansion because I live not even maybe 20 yards from the freeway. I can point out from campus where everything is. I can show you the refineries. I can show you the cranes that are bringing in cargo. And I don't even have to show you where the trucks are because you can see them and you can smell them and hear them no matter where you are on campus. And well, time's running out, so I also have some signatures collected from the community. Some of them are from students from Cabrillo, from St. Lucy's, and from Hudson.
The next speaker is Chris Bien Tejado. Following Chris would be John Thomas and Teresa Trujillo.
Good evening. My name is Chris Bentado. I attend St. Anthony High School in downtown Long Beach. I was born in the valley, Moreno Valley, Redlands area, and we moved to the Long Beach area not so long after I was born, probably a couple months. And I had nobody in my family has any breathing problems or asthma or anything like that. So I had no idea what it was. I wasn't educated about it. And it wasn't until summer camp when I was roughly around the age of 7, where a couple of my friends would have to stop and take quick breaths to recover. And then I found out they had asthma. They showed me their little inhalers, and I didn't know. I was like, I guess I was out of the loop. I didn't feel cool or something because I was the only one that didn't have it. And yeah, here in Long Beach, so many people have asthma. At St. Lucy's, my middle school, probably half of my class had asthma. And again, I felt left out. I didn't have it. But now that I'm in high school, it shows that still lots of people around me have asthma. They bring their inhalers to school. I have a close friend that was diagnosed with diabetes her freshman year, and she has lots of ailments already, and she has a air filter running on day and night in her house because of the ports nearby, the trains, the trucks expelling diesel fumes. And I don't think that expansion is going to make her living situation any better, that we should clean up now, not wait for expansion. Thank you.
I'd like to start off with a couple questions.
This is not a question and answer session. You have 3 minutes in which to express your comments, sir.
Okay. Well, my first comment is that I noticed in your minutes of the meeting that you have pages 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 14 completely missing from the minutes of the meeting. If you're not even going to read the minutes of your meeting flyers that you're handing out at meeting of this scale, don't even bother to bring it. It's a waste of our time. And at this point in time, I'm presently having conferences with the Los Angeles Unified School District about setting up machine shops at the South Region High School number 15 project at Angels Gate Cultural Center to convert diesel engines to run on vegetable oil and to produce clean burning biodiesel, and to convert gasoline engines to run on ethanol, unodorized compressed natural gas, and butane and propane, and to replace piston engines with electric motors using solar and/or battery and/or electrified rail power. And I would strongly urge everyone that is here at this meeting to call the toll-free number on the flyers that they're handing out about that project, and urge them to make this part of the curriculum. The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach have no excuse to not start funding a biodiesel and ethanol fuel distribution network here in the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach right now. A 90% reduction in air pollution from refineries would result if they refined only biodiesel and ethanol and butane, propane, and natural gas. And as far as methane goes, there's a virtually unlimited methane hydrate deposits supply in the oceans and the Arctic and Antarctic permafrost regions, which could be harvested before the temperatures reach a point where it starts evaporating into the atmosphere. And this methane gas is 20 times more potent as a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, resulting in an irreversible runaway greenhouse effect that could burn off our atmosphere entirely, and the fresh water and oceans ultimately would also evaporate into outer space, causing the extinction of life as we know it on this planet forever. The stakes are very high in this situation. We're coming up to a point in time here in 2012 where they expect a super solar flare increase, which could further exacerbate the global warming project that we are presently facing. And I believe that it is important, since simply eliminating the use of fossil fuels that are derived from refining crude oil and saving crude oil to use this for lubrication purposes, while we're waiting to transition to all electric vehicles, which is probably going to take anywhere from 5 to 50 years if it ever gets accomplished. I believe that this is very important to look into these matters, and I would appreciate that the Harbor Department seriously consider requiring any trains and trucks and ships that operate in these ports to run on electric motors, electric power, and or biodiesel, ethanol, and compressed natural gas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Following Teresa Trujillo is Alexandra Martinez, and followed by Jesse Marquez.
Buenas tardes, voy a hablar en español. Buenas tardes.
Good evening.
Mi nombre es Teresa Trujillo.
My name is Teresa Trujillo.
Y tengo un hijo con asma.
I have a son with asthma.
Estoy muy preocupada por la salud de mi hijo.
I'm very worried about his health.
Tengo una hija con alergias en la escuela Cabrillo.
I have a daughter with allergies and she attends Cabrillo.
Y estamos saturados en tránsito, smog y ruido.
We're saturated with traffic, smog, and noise.
Mi hijo está en la escuela César Chávez.
My son attends Cesar Chavez School.
Y pues como ustedes ven, estoy cerca la Cabrillo del 710 Freeway y escuela César Chávez pegada al freeway.
The schools are close to the freeways.
Y de los camiones de carga pesada que están contaminando.
They're also close to the trucks that are contaminating our air.
Tanto como a mi hijo,
my son,
a los demás estudiantes,
as well as the other students at the school.
Que me ha tocado ver varios niños con ataques de asma.
I have seen several children that have suffered asthma attacks.
Que cuando hacen sus actividades atrás del parque César Chávez pegado al freeway.
That when they're actively at the park, at the park near the school.
Son ataques fuertes.
They suffer very serious attacks.
que es lo que yo estoy viviendo
and that is what I am living
con mi hijo.
with my son.
Es doloroso lo que les voy a decir,
It's very painful what I have to tell you,
pero he pasado desvelos,
but I've had sleepless nights,
sufrimientos,
suffering
de ver a mi hijo,
from seeing my son,
9 años,
9 years old,
con esos ataques fuertes de asma,
with those serious asthma attacks,
incluso
including
se le vienen hemorragias por la nariz,
seeing him have hemorrhaging through his nose,
y lo veo sufrir a él,
and I see him suffering.
que a veces no sé ni con qué detenerle la sangre,
Sometimes I don't even know how to stop the bleeding
porque son toallas
because it's towels
que él ha mojado
that he has wet
con bastante sangre
with a lot of blood
por la tos tan fuerte
because of the cough that he
que le
has,
ataca.
is that he's suffering.
Y está el niño aquí para que no le dejo mentir,
My son is here. He's a witness. He's not going to let me lie.
que llora
That he
y
cries
se preocupa
and he worries
por ese sangrado que se le viene
because of that hemorrhaging that he suffers,
constantemente.
which he constantly suffers.
Incluso se combinan sus alergias.
In fact, his allergies combined.
Se llena de granos toda su cara.
His face fills with,
Por la mañana,
in the mornings, his face fills with,
que es cuando hay más contaminación.
when there's a lot of contamination, like, I can't describe the word, I'm
Y
sorry.
es otro dolor que yo tengo que pasar.
And just another pain that I have to suffer.
Yo les pido
I ask you
que por favor
that you please
no expandan esa vía ferrocarril.
don't allow the expansion of the railway.
Yo estoy en contra
I am very much against
de esa expansión.
that expansion.
Se los pido por favor,
I ask this, please,
y mi hijo también.
and my son as well.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Jesse Marquez, followed by Jim Larson and Alina Lazarete.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alexandra Martinez, and I would like to share with you the serious problem that we all are having. Nowadays, it's not only asthma that the people have. There are many sicknesses that they are having for the quality of the air. It's not just one person or two persons. There are many persons including in this room. I am a student in Cabrillo High School, and every time that I do exercise into or outside the gym, it's really hard to me to breathe. The quality of the air is totally destroying our lungs. It is not fair for us to be living with that kind of quality. I don't know if you have sons or daughters, but I don't think you would like to have them in a school where their quality of air is bad, where you know that they might get affected for the rest of their lives. The medical care is getting expensive, and in this time we are not having such as economic providers. We are getting more sicknesses. And if we try to provide or to get a higher economic activities, we should improve the money to get into health things. I don't like to say this, but I don't think it's a good idea to expand the rails. First of all, we should clean up the area that you are trying or planning to put them, because that is one of the main things that provokes all the students and all the people into that kind of area to get that. It is not just poor people, it is not just Mexicans, not Asian, it is all the people, all the communities into Long Beach. We need clean air, and that's it. And here I have some cards from my community, and there are just a few which are in this.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity for public comment. My name is Jesse Marquez. I'm Executive Director, Coalition for a Safe Environment, and we have members throughout the harbor area. My comments are going to focus on addressing problems, but also what are some of the solutions. Because if we don't come up with some of the solutions, we don't come up with some of the alternatives, then we're going to be faced with the problem continuously. Some of us that have been involved for several years now in reviewing ports and how they operate and the technologies that they use have become concerned that in some cases there are fairly simple solutions. It's just that some of these solutions are not being incorporated. For example, part of the reason they're talking about the ICTF terminal, part of the reason they're talking about using this, developing and building the SCIG terminal is because of the fact that we need to be able to move cargo to near dock. The solutions we see don't require something to be near dock. The solutions are having to be on dock. I have reviewed, for example, the Trade Pack Container Terminal EIR, the China Shipping Phase 2 EIR, the Port of Long Beach Middle Harbor EIR, and in all cases where they are building new terminals or expanding existing terminals or combining terminals, the definition of on dock is not what we see as a solution. On dock is just putting a rail on the dock somewhere. But in every one of these cases where there's an opportunity where you are building new docks, the rail is not being built dockside to the ship. By not building a rail dockside to a ship, you cannot unload the containers from the ship and directly drop them to the rail. That is a problem. But therein relies the solution as well. There needs to be a new master plan for both ports whereby they can look at a complete new design. Now, it may not be this year or next year, but we can't be looking at rail shipment and cargo transfer by looking at it a project-by-project basis. You must be able to come up with a new design whereby terminals are designed so cargo can be loaded directly to the rail. This prevents them and eliminates the need of having to go to off-port property locations. So that is one of the solutions that we have recommended, is building on-dock rail to the ship side. Another alternative is, okay, where else can an intermodal facility be built? We've looked at the footprint of the Port of LA. We've looked at the footprint of the Port of Long Beach. And in some cases, you have to think out of the box. Realistically, the best location for it is the Port of Long Beach Toyota Services Logistics Center. Right now, you have thousands of imported cars spread out on ground. We recommend that it be built, that the Port of Long Beach designate this as the intermodal facility. You build possibly 2 or 3 parking structures that can be 3-4 stories in height, and then use the land to build an intermodal facility right there on location. And so we believe that is the route to go. Also, we have the Alameda Corridor. The Alameda Corridor is currently only being used 35 to 40%. The ports need to impose some type of mandate to their tenants to increase their usage now. Not wait for future negotiations, but that opportunity exists today. You must sit down with these tenants and mandate somehow, some way, some form, some fashion that they increase their usage of the Alameda Corridor. And so them are some of the key points. We did submit a written public comment with some of these recommendations, and we ask that you do take a look at them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is James Larson. I live on the west side of Long Beach. I've lived there for 20 years. I live less than a mile from the ICTF facility, less than a half a mile from the 103 freeway, less than a half a mile from the 710. I live within 3 blocks of 4 schools and 2 parks. We've heard tonight numerous testimony by citizens who are negatively impacted by the present air pollution on the west side of Long Beach, and I too am a witness to that. My son is a 5th grader at St. Lucie Elementary. His class has 25 students. 3 that I know of have asthma and use an inhaler. It could be more than that. It's 3 that I know of, but anyway, that's at least 15% of that. Secondly, I believe that the reduced traffic of incoming containers due to the present recession does not warrant a expansion of the ICTF. The container traffic at the port is down 23 to 25% from last year. The data used to support the expansion of this facility estimated container traffic tripling. This data came from the Port's Joint Rail Study Update of 2006. They projected that the container traffic would triple in the near future. That's not happening. We're in a recession. In light of the present recession, this estimate is outdated and erroneous. I asked for a review and reanalysis of the data and estimates that warrant an expansion. I have a chart that I would like to give to you that's created from the data from that study update of 2006 with the actual data. It shows a huge dip in the actual containers coming into the port at the present time. And it shows that the estimates of the on-dock capacity is right at about the level where it is now. So I do not believe that a expansion is needed at this time. Third, I believe that the ICTF built in 1886 has outlived its usefulness. The Alameda Corridor, which opened in April of 2002, has the sole purpose of transporting containers from the port up the Alameda Corridor to a centralized sorting facility in the Transcontinental Rail Yards east of downtown Los Angeles. Modernization needs to be done at the port and in East Los Angeles. That's where modernization needs to be done, not 5 miles up the rail from the port. The present design of the ICTF would have you unloading and loading the same container 3 times in a 20-mile span. This type of job creation is inefficient, unproductive, and along with the pollution you create, you outprice your products at the eventual marketplace. It's a bad idea all around. So again, I urge you to reevaluate your statistics and estimates which warranted this expansion in the first place. I don't think the present container traffic warrants it whatsoever. Thank you.
Following Alina Lazarte is Hillary Balahadia and Martha Cota.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alina Lazarte. I live in Carson, in Realty and Avalon. And I just want to, it's just a concern about, I live in a railroad. I bought the house in 2001, and it's my first house. We were happy that we bought our house. So we have a smile on our face when on our first night, but at midnight, we woke up by the loud noise of the train coming. So we were like, okay, maybe that's the only train that's gonna come to that place. But then after 1 or 2 hours, there's another train came by. And then another train up to 4:30 in the morning, before the school starts, there are trains coming at that time. Can you imagine how hard to have enough sleep, not to have enough sleep during the night, and how hard to wake up the kids to bring them to school because they didn't have enough sleep that night. And if you're going to expand, do you really realize how much noise we're gonna bear every night? How much eye bags we're gonna have in the morning, and how much yelling we're gonna do to our kids to just wake them up. That's just one of my concerns. Lastly, if you guys are going to expand also, how much trucks we're gonna have in the road? Every day I bring my daughter to St. Lucie School, so I deal with this every day. A lot of trucks in the road. I hope you guys see how the drivers drive. when they exit the 103 going to Willow. Light is yellow, yellow already, they should prepare to stop. They still go on blocking the intersection of 103 and Willow going to Sepulveda. We want a safe road, accident-free road. I saw maybe 2 or 3 accidents on that intersection because of the trucks involved. So I hope you guys take it into consideration and think about people in surrounding areas, not only your projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Hilario Balaharia. I'm Lara's brother, and I'm the one that she said had pneumonia and is in ROTC. And I remember being in Hudson, it was always the thing where everyone at Hudson had the mentality that nothing can stop us from whatever we're going to do. When it came down to PE, if it was downpouring, we'd still be out on the field playing football. If it was raining and we still had track, we'd still be running track. Our sport program, when I was in track, we were able to make it to the finals, and currently, basketball is able to make it to championships. My concern is that when it comes down to it, the only thing that was able to stop our mentality was the fact that we had to fight against error. Once or twice a month, I would go visit my nurse because I had something to do, like I was feeling sick. And it wasn't really because I was sick. It was the way I was feeling due to the air, and being in the nurse's office made me feel better away from that distraction. I present this to you guys because being a student that went to Hudson and now is on to bigger things, and I'm furthering my career as not a student, but as someone living in this city, that I just want to present that if you're going to expand the railroads, that it should be closer to here, and it should be cleaner, because for everyone else, it shouldn't be a problem, especially to the students, because the students are the future, and you don't want to be messing up the future. Because as we are now, this recession, the students will become workers, and the workers are going to fix our economy. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have 3 final speakers. Martha Cota, followed by Anna of St. Lucy's School, and Alina Rodriguez.
Buenas noches a todos. Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Marta Cota y vengo de la ciudad de Long Beach.
My name is Marta Cota, and I come to you from the city of Long Beach.
Nada más, no iba a hablar, pero los estoy viendo muy pensativos a todos.
I wasn't going to speak, but I am observing that you're thinking very much, all of you.
Y yo me pregunto, ¿qué estarán sintiendo?
And I'm wondering, what are they feeling?
¿Qué estarán pensando de nosotros la comunidad?
What are they thinking about us, the community?
Después de escuchar a todas estas mamás, que yo las entiendo y las comprendo.
After listening to all of these mothers speak and understanding them.
Porque mi hijo, cuando él tenía 1 año, él tuvo asma.
Because my son, when he was one year old, he had asthma.
Y lo dije mal, no tuvo, tiene asma.
Actually, I correct myself, he has asthma.
Después de 19 años, mi hijo todavía tiene asma.
And after 19 years, my son still has asthma.
Y les quiero decir a todos ustedes que tienen el poder de hacer cambios, de tener otras estrategias.
And I'd like to tell you that you have the power of change. You have the opportunity to come up with different strategies.
Que nada más se imaginen que alguno de estos niños
that if you could only imagine that one of these children
que está padeciendo de esta enfermedad
that is suffering this illness
a causa de la contaminación,
due to the contamination,
llévenselo en mente esta noche.
I ask you to please think about this when you leave tonight.
Y piensen que ustedes tienen muchas otras estrategias para poder hacer lo que ustedes quieren.
And I ask you to think of the different strategies that you can make, that you can do.
limpiando el aire antes de hacer otra cosa.
to
Antes.
clean the air before you do anything else.
Se lo dejo de tarea.
I leave this to you as homework.
Llévense en mente
Please
y
think about it.
espero tener oportunidad de estar otra vez con ustedes para ver qué pensar.
And I hope
Gracias.
to have the opportunity to come back and speak with you to see what you thought.
I want to explain to everyone what our role is. Under the laws that we operate under, this is part of a process. We are the judge when the environmental impact statement is completed and all of the comments are made, and then the staff responds to the comments. Then and only then do we start deciding things. But we're here, and believe me, I think that we're listening very intently, and we hear everything that's being said. That's our job right now, and it's pretty hard to tell whether somebody is thinking or not. You'll just have to judge for yourself based on the outcome. But thank you for asking the question.
Ana Sandoval and Elena Rodriguez.
Hello. No, I don't need translation. I didn't really come prepared to speak up, but I am because I see everybody else is doing a really good job, and I want to put in my 2 cents worth too. So, I have 3 kids. 2 of them are attending St. Lucie School, and I want to share that some of the same things that our other parents are sharing, my kids are having too. Like they end up with stomach aches, and I take them to the doctor, and there's nothing. They check them, blood work, even x-rays, and there's nothing there that's causing or making the stomach ache. So it's just let it go and let's see if it gets better. They get nosebleeds at night for no reason. There's no trauma to the nose or anything. They just break up with a nosebleed. They have allergies, itchy, watery eyes. My youngest son, and I want to share this because I think this is very important. My youngest son, when he was 1 year old, I almost lost him because he ended up with like a double pneumonia, and it was not special, it was rare because it was a circular type of pneumonia that kind of was at the base of the lung. And if they didn't kill the pneumonia through IV, through injectable shots, within a 3 to 5 day time frame, my kid was going to have lung surgery at 1 year of age. I don't think that no child should go through that, period. Or actually, nobody, young or old. And he also now has what they call the sports-induced asthma. My child cannot sit there and laugh his head off because the asthma kicks in. And then he starts coughing and coughing and coughing, and I have to give him his inhaler, you know. What else? I guess that's kind of the biggest thing I wanted to share with you guys, that I don't think it's really fair for all the young little people to have to suffer for all these unawful health issues that are going to continue with them through life. You know, so please consider what you're doing before you do it. Please.
Thank you.
Buenas noches. Necesito traducción, por favor.
Good evening.
Mi nombre es Elena Rodríguez.
My name is Elena Rodriguez.
Soy residente de West Long Beach.
I'm a resident of West Long Beach.
Yo no tengo asma, mi esposo ni mi hijo tienen asma.
I don't have asthma, nor do my husband or son.
Pero hace un año mi hija fue diagnosticada con principios de asma.
But my daughter a year ago was diagnosed with pre-asthma.
Y por mi hija y todos los demás niños y toda la gente que no estamos enfermas todavía, me opongo a la expansión del de estas yardas ferrocarrileras y por los nuevos proyectos de otras yardas.
And for my daughter and the other children that are here and the rest of the community that is here, I am opposed to the expansion of the railroad.
Antes de eso, queremos que primero limpien el aire que ya contaminaron.
Before you do this, we need you to clean up the air that you've already contaminated.
Después de eso, entonces busquen otras alternativas.
After that, then you can look for other alternatives
que no sigan dañando nuestra comunidad.
that will not continue to harm our community.
Eso es todo. Gracias.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the number of speaker cards that we received.
Well, thank you. Since at this stage of the game, this matter is not one that we're free to comment on, as I understand it. I don't know what other business we have on this item. Is none. Is there any new business to come before the?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to, if we can get this on. Yeah. Is it on? Okay. I'd just like to thank everybody for coming down here. I think it was, it's an effort to come down here. People work. A lot of the mothers and children go to school. The children go to school. Mothers, are all working stuff. So I do just want to tell you, we all do really appreciate you coming down here and speaking frankly about what's going on in your neighborhood. So thank you very much. Okay,
I think we all concur in that, and we've worked hard at listening. That's a hard thing to show that you're doing. I mean, I usually comment when people comment, and so it's been a real burden on me to keep quiet all evening. I just want to express that if I could. But we have been listening and taking it in. I guess there's nothing more for us to do on this item tonight. Is there any other business to come before this body this evening? Well, again,
I wanted to ask permission to just make a last comment on your behalf, mentioning...
I think you're doing it, so go ahead.
I do apologize. It's just that I know you had said that you don't... My name is Mary Rubinaker again, and I know
Still, yeah.
I hope so. Well, I know that you had said that you might not have that power to make the last decision.
No, I didn't say, on the contrary, we will have the power to make the last decision, but we do not comment while the process is going on. In other words, I think each of us would have some desire to respond to these very heartfelt comments, but we're judges.
And I do appreciate that you're taking it in.
And I just wanted to explain why we were sitting here like bumps on a log.
Well,
it's because that's what we got to do right now. But once the draft statement is issued and then there's further comments, it will come before us in the latter part of '09, sometimes around November, and that's when it will be ours to decide, and we can change whatever is proposed by the staff. And that's why we're here listening, so that we can kind of get educated as we go along.
Well, I think everybody takes that, you could bring as education makes wonders, you could say. And as me, as being a college, I go to Long Beach City College, and being in a leadership, because I am in a leadership for student council there, I know that voicing your voice does make wonders. And I know that here, as my son's nurse is here, my oldest son's teacher is here, everybody here with the small community of Long Beach, that's why it makes a lot of difference for Long Beach, because we do know each other. And just because we are here, that's why I want you to know we do hope that you have that.
Thank you. You've succeeded in busting all the rules, but you're good at it.
Well, I want...
Thank you very much.
All righty, but thank you for having that voice across.
Is there a
Motion
to adjourn? Seconded. We all saying aye, we are adjourned.
Aye.